SystemProfiler 3.0, the latest version, came out end of last year. And our main focus, as is suggested in the title of this webinar, is we wanted to bridge the gap to IT security. Now, what do we mean with that? And I'd like to take a step back, so to speak, and talk a little bit about what the challenges are for SAP security in general, and also in particular with regards to the relation to the regular IT security, so to speak. The first challenge we see is an organizational challenge. Back when SAP introduced R3 in the early 90s, SAP was still a isolated technology, so to speak, isolated in terms of isolated from other IT technology within the company, and that led to organizational structures where an SAP department is often not the same as the IT department, or not part of the IT department, but actually completely separate if you look at the organizational chart. And hence also later on, when security became more and more of an issue, the SAP Security department was a different department in a different organizational structure than IT security. So this was one challenge. Another challenge, which is more recent, so to speak, is technology. We see that SAP is moving fast forward in terms of security. If you compare the last 3, 4, 5 years to the previous 10, 20 years. So we have HANA, which is evolving rapidly. We have cloud technologies where SAP is stocking up the armory, so to speak, and then of course we have the mobile revolution, where more and more access of any systems, not only SAP systems, of course, is handled through mobile devices. That, on the other side, translate into an increased complexity, not only for SAP landscapes, also for IT landscapes in general, but SAP landscapes are also targeted there, of course. So we have an increased complexity within SAP landscapes. Also, what we do see, especially in the security area, is that the latest 3-4 years has seen a dramatic increase of awareness within the hacker community of SAP. The reason for this, as we see it, that most hackers were focusing on the technology they know, and that was usually web technologies. Now, the general or the overall IT security has been doing a pretty good job in at least making the hacker job as difficult as possible. And so, obviously, as a next step, hackers were looking for easier targets. And one of these easy targets was actually SAP, and that's why the awareness of vulnerabilities on SAP, about SAP, has become increasingly popular within the hacker community. Also, along with the security discussion, but also other regulative issues like the economic crisis back in 2008, we see more regulative pressure on practically any company, especially if you look at the Anglo-Saxon world, where you have SOX as a very, very big topic. Everyone has to follow, or things like the payment card industry data security standards, which everyone who is processing credit card data has to follow. There's a lot of other regulations and rules which anyone has to follow, and since the core business processes are usually involved when we talk about these regulations, this usually also involves SAP. So these are the challenges we see, and we've seen that quite a while ago, and that's actually why we developed SystemProfiler in the first place. SystemProfiler provides optimal protection for SAP systems. So it enables a customer to secure and monitor the entire SAP system landscape, and reduces the effort needed in validating any security settings. So speaking in a positive manner, with SystemProfiler you can actually forget about security, manual security validation. Therefore, it obviously also prevents issues which arise from insecure, unstable system configurations. And also, since we based SystemProfiler explicitly on the standards which we see out there, the most important security standards, when using SystemProfiler, you have an increased compliance to internal and external standards for SAP systems. I mentioned just now that with SystemProfiler you can forget about manual security validations in a positive way. How do you do that, or how does SystemProfiler do it? We basically have a three-phase or three-step approach. The first one is an assessment. So you take a look at how secure is your system landscape currently. And after you've found that out, second step is to clean up all the possible weaknesses which were found by SystemProfiler, and those are more or less comprehensive from a security point of view. And there's three different ways of cleaning those weaknesses. Of course, there's the obvious way: change the security setting. So if you just to take an obvious example, minimum password length, SystemProfiler comes with a predefined value of 8 because that's recommended by various standards. And if the assessment shows that your minimum password length is below 8, you will have a red light. First way to change this is change it from whatever 6 is the SAP default when you install an SAP system, so change it from 6 to 8 and the light becomes green. The other possibility, also possible with the SystemProfiler, because in an SAP system landscape or an SAP system line, you have several systems. You have a development system, you have a QA system, you have a production system. That's the usual setup. And for development systems, you might say, well, actually 6 as a minimum password length is sufficient. So with SystemProfiler, what you can do is you can mark any development system, or just that particular development system, to have a green light with the minimum password length of 6. These are the two main possibilities of getting a green light within your system. And there's another one, because SystemProfiler also checks for authorizations which are critical in terms of security, in terms of basis administration. For example, who in the system has SAP all. And the third way of making a light go green essentially is putting users on a whitelist. So obviously in an SAP system you need administrators who need to do critical tasks from a security point of view, but if you know that who those users are, you can simply put them on a whitelist, and they will not be found by SystemProfiler, which also eventually makes your light go green. Of course, you're pretty flexible in doing that, but after you have set everything up so every light is green, so to speak, that's the actual point in time where you don't need to concern yourself about security validation anymore, because SystemProfiler then monitors your system landscape, and only when a light changes from green to red, you will become a notification and you know that you need to do something. And that's actually the point where we also bridge the gap to IT security, because with the new SystemProfiler we have an integration into the so-called security information and event management systems. Let's talk about what those SIEM systems do just for a second. SIEM systems are very versatile these days, so they can cover a lot of devices. They get or retrieve information from many devices and technologies, which include networks, identity management systems, security devices, so routers, antivirus systems, firewalls, also databases. So they have a lot of information they process, and you could actually, or that's at least how I envision SIEM systems in operation. You have a sort of war room where someone sits and has a lot of monitors in front of them and sees whenever there's some suspicious activity going on, and then he does something about it. Now the problem is, yes, SIEM system also features some application data, but usually SIEM systems do not cover SAP systems. So in other words, SIEM systems cover the entire IT infrastructure except for SAP systems. And this is actually where SystemProfiler comes in. So with SystemProfiler and the integration into SIEM systems, we finally have the possibility to monitor everything important in terms of security of an SAP system into a SIEM system, and thereby not only bridging the gap, but also filling the gap which IT security has in terms of a comprehensive monitoring of an entire IT infrastructure, including SAP. Some more details on this. What we do is we have a couple of test cases, well, a couple, actually quite a few. We have one test category which is called forensics, where we monitor things like who is changing data in an SAP table by using debugging technology, or who's trying to log in with an SAP user and is failing. So a lot of event-driven things within SAP which we monitor and which are predefined for SIEM processing. But also, of course, you can also add any of the other 280 plus test cases which we feature in SystemProfiler to forward and process further with the SIEM system. SystemProfiler also already does some part of pre-qualifications of those events. They can be processed immediately by the SIEM systems, and also we have a detection of duplicates. So if someone is trying to log in, or rather two test cases respond to the same event, SystemProfiler is intelligent enough to make sure that this is only forwarded as one event to the SIEM system. Everything is extendable, as is with SystemProfiler as a sort of general feature. We try to make everything extendable and customizable by the customers. And of course also with the SIEM system, you will get the central approach which SystemProfiler has. So in other words, you have one main central system where you have an overview of the entire SAP system landscape, and we try to translate that into the SIEM integration as well. This is an example of how it could look like. This is done. This screenshot has been done using Splunk, one of the leading SIEM providers currently out there. Talking about which SIEM providers we support out of the box. There's Splunk, as you see in the screenshot here. We also support ArcSight and Curator out of the box, and ArcSight and Curator with their formats for SIEM events essentially cover most of the markets, or put differently, most of the smaller SIEM systems also support the formats which are used by ArcSight and Curator. So by providing these formats, we think we cover probably more than 90% of the market. Now, this is sort of bridging the gap to the general IT security, but of course there's things going on in the general SAP environment, which we also have not neglected, on the contrary, and one of which I mentioned briefly in the introductory slide, which is HANA. Very hot topic, and also filled with a lot of challenges when you think about security and quality. The first one is HANA is a very attractive target for hackers again. The reason is HANA is a new technology, which also means that IT administrators, developers, everyone who has to do something with HANA has little experience in the technology, which increases the probability of security misconfigurations or development errors, which can lead to security weaknesses. So that makes it very attractive for hackers. Also, if you think about what I said earlier, that hackers started out with web technology, and with HANA, SAP is actually going the other way around. They're going to focus more on web technology. HANA is using HTTPS, JavaScript, a lot of standard web technologies as opposed to a regular SAP system. When you think about ABAP, that's very, very different from modern web technology, which is of course also a reason why SAP actually uses HANA. But again, it makes this attractive for hackers. Also, there's a lot of risks which are either completely new or at least new to someone who's has been doing SAP security for quite a while. To take one of these examples in here, web applications is something where SAP security was not mainly concerned with in the past, because of course SAP has been web enabled for quite some time, but it has never been the focus. With HANA, it's actually the only way to work. So this is for SAP security a new topic. We have old topics, custom developments. Custom development always and probably always will be a very hot topic, a very big topic, because no SAP system is alike, no customer is alike, so processes have to be adapted and custom developments have to be made. That's still a risk in secure custom development, which also applies to HANA. There's absolutely new risks. RServ is a statistical solution which can be integrated into HANA, and RServ is, or if you integrate RServ into HANA, you obviously have to open HANA up at least to some degree, which makes produces another entry gate into HANA, of course. And then my favorite one, RAM scraping. This has been a hacking technology which has been made public a couple of times. There was one thing I remember, the American retail company Target has been targeted, and what was actually hacked was the point of sales. And what happened was the malware was injected into the random access memory of those point of sale systems, and simply looked for strings which looked like credit card data and sent those credit card data to an external server. Now the tricky part, because it is working in RAM, once the point of sale system shuts down, the malware is gone as well. RAM scraping is very dangerous to HANA for the fact that, of course, HANA is all about RAM. This is what the performance of HANA is. That's where all the data is. And because it is located in RAM, it's very hard to detect. So if you put these things together, if I would be someone who is an expert in RAM scraping, I would definitely target HANA, because I know that all the information, all the relevant information on business processes or everything of a customer is located in RAM. So that's what I would target. New risk, and something which we probably need to be aware of, especially in the future. Last but not least, the complexity of SAP system landscapes increases again when you use HANA. It's another system, it's an additional system usually, so more settings which you need to consider when you want to have a secure system. That not only applies to additional settings, but also some other settings in different system needs to be adjusted in terms of database settings, operating system settings, everything essentially increases the complexity. And this is why we developed some things for SAP HANA, for making SAP HANA more secure. One of the things which has been around for quite a while is the Virtual Forge Code Profiler, where we already for quite a while have some test cases which are important and relevant to HANA. To cut things rather short, if you migrate to HANA, you have two things to consider when you talk about your custom development. Some of the things need to be adjusted because HANA works differently as any other database, and other things are highly recommended to change, because otherwise HANA doesn't, or you won't leverage the full performance of HANA. To give you one example, there's a statement called wait in ABAP. If that statement says wait 10 seconds, then even the fastest HANA, more processing power, more RAM will not make the program go any faster because the statement says wait 10 seconds. So you need to clean up your code in that regards, and this is something which we have been doing for quite a while, and where we also have some automated correction feature which makes it easier and speedier to adapt your custom code. Now with SystemProfiler, we also have the possibility of securing HANA configurations. So with SystemProfiler, where before 3.0 we could optimize and secure Java and ABAP NetWeaver platforms, we can now also secure HANA configurations. We've added some test cases, but since we used a very general technology, we actually have the possibility to literally check any system setting in HANA. Last but not least, again, not focused on SystemProfiler, but just in general, we have developed a code profiler, so a code scanner for HANA. We're the first ones in the whole world who are able to do that, where we scan, as you know from a product code profiler, where we scan the custom code for security and quality issues. And since this is integrated into Eclipse and the Web IDE development platform, we actually do this while typing. So imagine this being the spell check of Microsoft Word adapted to a security check for HANA development. This is how it looks like when we're securing HANA configurations with SystemProfiler. So you see, first of all, whether you have a red light or you have a green light, so whether that particular system setting is secure or not. You will always, as in all of our solutions, have a very detailed documentation on what the test case in question does, and you will also see a detailed result interface of the particular system which actually has been scanned. I mentioned that we can actually do a lot of things with the new HANA integration because we implement SQL statements. HANA is all about SQL. And this is why we can actually test most of the relevant settings which are actually available in HANA. We're using a proxy, so to speak. So what we're doing is we're using sort of an ABAP system in order to check a HANA system, but obviously this ABAP system can be identical to the general central system of SystemProfiler, and we're using a database connection to use HANA. This enables us to check both systems or scenarios where HANA is used as a simple database replacement of other databases, but it also enables us to check a whole new HANA platform such as S4HANA. Of course, this is not everything. These are the main two topics which we introduced with the SystemProfiler 3.0, HANA integration and SIEM system. There's one more big topic which is reporting dashboards. So with the SystemProfiler 3.0 we are introducing a reporting API, and that API is actually not limited to SystemProfiler, but this is a standardized API which will be available shortly for all Virtual Forge solutions, so also for Code Profiler, also for our upcoming solution Transport Profiler. And from a technical point of view, it consists of 4 ABAP function modules, and it will provide the most recent results for whatever reporting solution which you choose to use. We will feature a reporting dashboard, and we also will, with the next release of SystemProfiler and analog with the other solutions, we will also feature some of the reporting use cases as a standalone or out-of-the-box solutions. So even if you have no reporting solutions available, or you just want to quickly take a look at the reporting, you will have an option to do so using SystemProfiler out of the box. But again, you can use BW, you can use ClickView, any reporting solution which there is, because we're using a generic API, which can also be called externally and also can be called through web services. So you can also set up HTML web pages with the reporting API.